welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast and YouTube show. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and today we're talking about relationships. We're talking about the most important aspects of the relationships that you have. Now, this is not just relationships to people. This is going to be a conversation about relationships to different subjects in your life, because how you relate to things is how you create to them. How cool is that? Relationships with people is such an important subject, and it's one that I do every once in a while when things come up. But I thought, how cool is it to take a subject like relationships and apply it to all different subjects, not just people. But the relationships with people in your life are a really awesome indicator of how you're feeling about yourself, of how you're conducting energy in your own field, because people are your mirrors. They are reflecting how you really feel inside. When you take things personally, when you are super triggered a lot, when you are always in this fight or flight situation with different people in your life, it is an indication that you've got some wounds that are being triggered that you feel are beyond your control, that you absolutely can gain control of. This conversation may be one of the most important conversations when it comes to manifesting in law of attraction, because there's people all around you all day, every day, that are beaming the signal to you. And then as you take that and create from it, so as you take it personally or decide it doesn't have anything to do with you, that's going to actually predict how you feel. And how you feel is everything in the law of attraction. Remember this wave behind me. Emotions are energy in motion. So if you're dangling your emotions out there for people to play with, then you're going to have a much harder road of working to be a deliberate creator, someone who deliberately decides what your field is going to look like and how you're going to feel and create in it. So, your big relationships, your biological family, your family that you've created, maybe with a partner, those are big indicators in the healing game. Like, those are your people who are going to help you probably heal the most. Maybe your bosses and your careers and people that are in authoritative positions with you will also give you great reflections. But your biological family, those people that are around you the most, they are going to have the most power in helping you to heal. So especially those that you feel like are, tormenting you. They say the root word of torment is mentor. And it's so interesting, especially children. I've definitely had this experience where my children have helped me heal so much. They've helped me realize so much. They've helped me create boundaries. They've helped me to respect myself, all of those things. And it came on the heels of feeling powerless and feeling unworthy and feeling disrespected and all of those things that I felt like I didn't have control over. Through my healing process and through, understanding how the laws of the universe work and the person that I wanted to be, healing along the journey with them, they have been my greatest teachers. So your children may be your greatest teachers, your partner, your spouse may be your greatest teacher, your mother, your father, even if they're not in your experience anymore, they could be your greatest teachers, because the people that are close to us have the greatest indicators of where we are and what work needs to be done. So that's really good news. The other relationships that you have, the relationships to money, the relationships to food, the relationships to your physical body, the relationship to even the outside world, the world at large, politics, the big things that are going on right now, the way that the world conducts themselves in health, and the way you treat your physical field, the way you treat that, like the information that you let in, things, the information that you focus on, all of those things are a relationship, and it's the relationship you have with the world. And that a lot of times creates in the life that you're creating. Because if you believe right now that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, that is what's going to be created. That's the frequency that you're on. That's the timeline that you're on. And you're going to create more evidence of that by believing that. So let's hope that you don't believe that. Sorry, I just had to wipe off my camera. It looks fuzzy. I don't know why. Let's hope that that's not where you are right now. It's a very easy place to be when we consider what's going on in our world. Oh, there we go. That's better. It's a very easy place to be because of the world that we're in, and there's so much going on, and there's so much energy, and there's so much change, and so many indications that things are going to go a certain way, and if they don't go a certain way, we're in trouble and all of this. So let's just pull back a little bit. Let's create a little bit of space between us and that. Okay? It's very easy to get sucked in. I am not doing it. But, in the conversations that I'm having and with different people that I'm close to in my life, and even even the responses to my posts, which if you get my posts every day on Facebook, I'm in a lot of different groups on Facebook, but also you can get it through my blog, which is www.livelifegolden.com, GOLDYN.com. I send that every day, my daily post that is basically channeled through me. And today I had somebody really go off on my post and told me that I was an elite liberal and that I should vote for so-and-so for my emotions and my feelings. And I think I've shared this before. I will sometimes respond to those just to not to pay attention and focus, but just to be in my power about it. I will respond to it. And then about 5 or 10 minutes later, I'll go back and I will actually block the person and I will delete their comment because I'm not going to allow those comments on my post. But even my post that had nothing to do with politics whatsoever today is subject to this arena that is filled with hate and division and separation. So we want to be careful of that. Anytime we're feeling division and separation from other people, we are not in our oneness. We are not in the oneness of higher states of consciousness, and we're in danger of affecting our field in a negative way. In a really negative way, where we are opposed to other people, where we are creating contention, where we aren't liking someone. And I know it's a challenge right now. If people are not agreeing with what you agree with, it can be challenging. But the fact of the matter is everyone has their own belief system. Everyone is at a certain part of their journey, a certain process of their journey. And that process may be, it's perfect for them. But we look at it and we can judge it and we can say, they're stupid, or they aren't aware, or they don't have enough knowledge, or any of that. But that's never going to help the situation. That's just sending negative energy to it. So your relationship really matters to every single signal you are sending, because people feel energy. They feel energy, whether you say something, whether you are so phony baloney, there's no way anybody could know how you actually really feel. Energy is felt. It's this wave behind me. It goes out and it creates whether you are pretending or not. And my cat is on my lap. Okay. Lulu wants to be part of the show today. Say hi. Say hi, Lulu. Okay. All right. So when it comes to relationships, look at each individual person in your life and then take each individual subject. So if we were to talk about your relationship with food, what is your relationship with food? Is food a means for fuel? Is food a means for health? Is food a means for staying high energetically? Or is food a means for boredom? Is food a means for feeding your emotional field? You'll know by your weight, because if you're overweight, many times it's because you're trying to push emotions down and you have heavy emotions within you. Weight is always an indication of things that are stuck in your emotional field that you haven't dealt with, and you're just eating your feelings very, very often. Stress, all of that stuff. Are you using food to try to soften that relationship, or try to avoid that relationship, or avoid your feelings or your healings or whatever you need to do? So what is your relationship with food? What is your relationship with your physical body? Are you treating your physical body so that it has the most optimal vital possibility? You know, are you moving it every day? Are you stretching it every day? Are you sitting in a chair all day? When I was doing this show twice a week, oh my goodness, I was doing 3 shows a week. That was bonkers. I don't know why I did that to myself. It was part of my process, I guess, of wanting to be relevant. I don't know. I've cleaned that up, thank goodness. But when I was doing 3 shows a week, I was doing a lot of interviews, because I was actually bringing people onto the show, which, if you've noticed, I haven't been bringing people onto the show. And the reason for that is it was just getting I was feeling spun out on my energy field, and I've had some great guests, but I also felt like it was compromising my authenticity when I would have guests on that wanted to sell you something or whatever. If you've seen some of those shows, I apologize. It's just where I was at in the process of creating a show, and I'm just not there anymore. And I am going to have some upcoming guests, and I'm very excited about. I'm going to have a little creators side of this, which I can't tell you who it is yet, because I have to make sure that it's actually going to happen before I start posting about it. But it's going to be super cool. Because I have this vision of working with creators and having them come on the show and talk about their journey, because I think it's so inspiring. I just read the book by Leanne Morgan. I don't know if I told you this. It's called What in the World, which I think is so funny, because I say that all the time. I say, what in the world? And she says that all the time. And I just love her. She's a comedian out of Tennessee, and she's literally been just trying to be a comedian for like 20 years. And it's such an inspiring and funny and uplifting story. I would highly recommend that you read it. It really just kind of gave me, right before she made it big. I mean, she's really big now. And right before that happened, she was like ready to give up, and she was ready to just open a hardware store. And man, do we all know this feeling, right? So really inspiring, really awesome lady, and really truthful and authentic. I truly believe in her. So it's a great story. So who knows? Maybe we'll have Leanne Morgan on someday. You never know. Anyways, so getting back to relationships, what is your relationship with social media? What is your feeling after you get off social media? That's always the indication of any relationship. If you want to know what your relationship is to that subject, how do you feel when you're spending time and focusing your attention on it? Do you feel drained? Do you feel good? Do you feel addicted? Do you feel like your dopamine has just been dumped? Because that's what they say happens when you scroll a lot. If you're on TikTok, how I used to feel like when I was on TikTok, I was on TikTok for like a second. If you look, I have a couple of videos on there. The reason why I got off TikTok is because I would literally get on there and get lost, and an hour would go by and it would scare the crap out of me. And I would go, oh my goodness, I am not contributing to this platform that makes me do that, because it's a dopamine dump. And when you dump dopamine, then you don't have enough to create a happy and fulfilled and vital life. So be careful, please be careful with social media, because scrolling the feeds is a really addictive thing. And I myself have to be careful, and I have to watch myself, especially because I want to have engagement on there. I want to uplift people. So I have to be aware when I start like looking at my phone all the time, like when you drive and you park and then you look at your phone. And then when you go to the bathroom and you look at your phone, like how many times are you looking at your phone a day? What kind of relationship is that with an inanimate object, or with a society of people that are completely virtual that might not even really be who they're presenting as? So be aware of that relationship, because that relationship will drain you. It will keep you from making real relationships, and it will keep you from actually doing things that are creative and outside the spectrum of your comfort zone, which is where everything is happening for you, is when you get out of that comfort zone. Your phone, social media feeds can really keep you stuck, because it's just this cycle of electronics and frequencies that are not grounded in the earth frequency. So there is a story or a movie out called the Earthing movie. I love this movie. We learned all about the frequency of the earth and why we need that frequency, and how many people are getting sick and suffering because they are so disconnected from the earth. So get your body on the earth, get your feet on the earth. Whatever you can do to actually touch the ground is super important. And they sell grounding mats, which we actually do have on our bed. And I will say